Some places just stay with you. And 5 years ago, Williams, Arizona became one of those places. Back then, I was only here for a few hours. But somehow, this little Route 66 town quickly became one of my favorite places I had ever traveled to. So this time, I came back and stayed for 6 whole weeks. Officially, I came back searching for Bigfoot. But along the way, I got the chance to truly experience this small mountain town known as the gateway to the Grand Canyon. Tucked away in the mountains of northern Arizona, Williams is one of the most iconic surviving towns along Route 66. In fact, it was the last town on the historic highway to be bypassed by Interstate 40, helping preserve much of the old roadside charm that still defines the town today. From vintage diners to classic gift shops, and roadside attractions. Williams almost feels like stepping back into another era. And honestly, that's part of what makes this place so unforgettable. And of course, no Route 66 town would be complete without at least one completely bizarre roadside attraction. Claimed to be the shittiest museum in the world by the New York Post, the Poozeum is the only free museum on the planet dedicated entirely to fossilized poop, otherwise known as coprolites. Opened in 2024 by George Franson, the museum is home to 2 world records. The first, the largest collection of coprolites in the world, with more than 5,000 specimens and counting. And the second, the world's largest fossilized turd. Now, when I heard that part of me walked in expecting to see one of my sisters. But nope. This thing is actually from a carnivorous animal, measuring over 2 feet long and more than 6 inches wide. And honestly, who can pass up the opportunity to take a selfie with the world's biggest fossilized poop? As their motto proudly says, they really are number 1 for fossilized number 2. Despite my love for Route 66 and all things quirky, I came to Williams on a mission to investigate Bigfoot. So most of my time wasn't actually spent downtown. Instead, I spent weeks deep in the forests south of town working on what I believe may be my best project yet. Over the course of 6 weeks, I interviewed an expert, investigated a local sighting, and made a few discoveries that genuinely sent chills down my spine. Unfortunately, I can't fully share this story just yet. I ended up submitting the project into a contest with a grand prize of $1,500. The winner won't be announced until the end of August. So until then, stay tuned and wish me luck. But before ending my time in Williams, there was one more place I knew I had to return to. At 4 in the morning, I woke up and got ready to head towards the Grand Canyon for sunrise. There was just one problem, however. A pack of coyotes had moved through our campsite, and in the darkness, you could barely see anything. So before heading outside, I grabbed my bear spray and somehow managed to accidentally discharge it before I even made it out the camper door, including directly onto my mattress. Needless to say, that woke me up pretty quickly. At that point, I knew the sunrise trip was over. So for the next several hours, I aired out the camper, cleaned up the mess, and tried to recover from accidentally bear spraying my own mattress. But after 6 weeks in Williams, there was no way I was leaving the gateway to the Grand Canyon without making that one final trip. Now, it's finally time for the rim. I found my spot, changed into shorts, so I figure I'll show you guys my reaction. Let's recreate my first experience here. I always thought the Grand Canyon would be overrated until I got here. And my jaw literally dropped. The views really do speak for themselves. But before leaving the canyon behind, there was one more spot I wanted to revisit. Okay, we have made it to the trailhead. So now we are going to do the hike to Ooh-Ah Point. And last time I did this, the hike up kicked my ass, quite frankly. So we're going to see how I do this time. There's where we're going to be going. It twists and turns down there. So let's get started. Now, an important note with this trail is this is the trail the mules take to get down to the bottom. So you do gotta watch your step. But you know, this is my second time doing it now, and as you can see, it's not horrible. Just every now and then you gotta watch your step, that's all. And it's a beautiful view. The hike down is not bad at all. Super gradual. It's just that hike back up because you are going pretty far down into the canyon. Here's a perfect example of what I meant. Bends and curves and drops all the way down. Warning: hiking to the Colorado River and back in one day is not recommended due to long distance, extreme heat, and nearly 5,000 foot elevation change. Luckily, we are not going that far. Fun fact for you guys, I'm probably gonna scream like a little girl here. There is a squirrel that was right around this rock. I can see the grass moving. There he is. Fun fact, squirrels are the most dangerous animal here in Grand Canyon National Park. For reference, this is how far down we are in the canyon already. Not too shabby. Doesn't feel bad at all. Like I said, the hike down is easy. It's the hike up that's going to be rough. One downside to doing this later in the day is that you are in the sun for a majority of the hike. So it's going to feel a little warm. Just a mental note. If we had got in here earlier without bear spraying myself, we would have been doing this in the dark too, with a headlamp, which would be interesting. I know a lot of people do it. It's a very popular spot, but it takes an hour to hike down. So it's not super crowded for sunrise, which is why it would have been perfect. But we make do. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived to our destination. Imagine watching the sunrise from here. We got the east is behind us, so it would just be absolutely gorgeous. Didn't work out today, since I wanted to bear spray myself apparently, but still a wonderful view, and we'll get back down here at some point for sunrise. Now, see, there's a building down there. Part of me wants to hike down there because I've never done it. The other part of me is like, that's really far for what's most likely a bathroom. So, I don't think we're going to. But you can see the trail continues behind me, curves down, then you have most likely the bathroom there. And then the trail continues all the way down into the canyon. And over there you can see the trail continuing on the opposite side of the river. on a downside, the exercise-induced asthma is kicking in. On the good side, when I start to run out of breath, I can stop because I ain't in no rush in any way, shape, or form, catch my breath, and enjoy a beautiful view. So, I mean, can you really even say that's a downside?
A few moments later.
Whose idea was this? Whose fault? I'm gonna say Nate from the North American Traveler's Edge, because this seems like totally something he would get us into. Inside joke, but if you know, you know. Here we go. Time to start climbing up.
Victory!
Made it. Oh, back at the tippy top. Now we might be leaving the national park, but our adventures aren't done yet. Our first stop after leaving the national park, we have to visit Smokey, of course. Smokey the Bear always holds a special place in my heart. Growing up in the Upper Peninsula, I can't tell you how many times the Rangers were talking about fire safety, and I got Smokey the Bear comic books and all kinds of Smokey the Bear merch. So, yeah, had to stop and see good old Smokey. Yabba dabba doo, we have arrived to our final location before heading back to camp. And this location, we're bound to have a yabba dabba good time. Now, this location specifically is one over the years that many have asked me about. Did you know this is here? Have you ever visited? And I did not know the first time I drove through. So this time we're getting some redemption, because this became an item on my bucket list once I discovered it. And it's something that I watched my entire life growing up. So without further ado, I'm gonna go buy a ticket and let's go have a yabba dabba good time. That is one big dinosaur. And how do we not? Here we go. Woo!
Well, the ground is shaking and the beat's just right, 'cause the dinos came to party all night. Let's rock! There's a raptor on the rhythm and a Rex on lead, Stegosaurus drumming on a bass with speed, pterodactyls flying with a twisty move. They're flapping to the backbeat, got that groove. Rocking with the dinosaurs, jump and jive, do the dino twist, they're alive, alive. Stomping in their sneakers on the fossil floor, shake, rattle, roar, and dance some more. They're wild and free, rocking through prehistory. T-Rex strutting in his dancing shoes, can't clap much, but he's got the moves. Triceratops boogies with a bopping horn, spinning like a comet in a dino storm. Rocking with the dinosaurs, tail in the air, jumping and a jiving with style to spare. Twist like a top, let your claws just glide. It's a prehistoric party on the wild side. Now slide to the left, stomp 3 times, chomp in the air and wiggle those spines. Spines. Rocking with the dinosaurs day and night, feathers flying in the disco light, jumping and bumping in a lava glow. Rock and roll with the Dino Show. Dino Dabba Dee and a 1, 2, 3. Rock it back to 65 million BC.
Say
Good night,
cheese.
Jurassic